What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people who share challenges, encourage healing, and explore the possibilities that life has to offer. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride. Welcome to another episode of What If You Could, and this is episode 3 with Velma Hagar. Velma's a hoot. We hope you enjoy the episode, and if you do, please like, share, subscribe. Let us know how we're doing and how you're enjoying our guests. Thank you so much for listening in, and now here's episode 3 with Velma Hagar.
Yeah, and I know, look at me how long I've talked. See, I told you to give me the mic. I hand it over. Now,
we haven't even covered half the stuff I wanted to cover yet. You're on a roll. Don't stop now. You're on a roll.
I have to tell you, don't get me going on politics though, because that's
no. We can't even touch
I'm a
politics.
warrior. I'm a real warrior.
But here's the challenge, and here's what's really sad, right? You and I are on the same wavelength on so much, especially politics.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So here's what's so sad. We could, and we've already had this beautiful podcast. You've got so much to share, so much inspiration, so much beauty of what we've talked about, right? God forbid we mention any politics. This podcast would be completely shunned, and people would miss all of the goodness of what you said, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah,
I mean, and it's like, so I've had a number of guests and I've let them roll. I've just let them go, right? And they've just been on fire and stuff. And at the end of the podcast, we covered a lot of stuff, but that 15 or 20 minutes when they were really railing on Mr. T, right? About how much they love him and stuff.
Yeah.
I think we had everything going, but we're going to lose a bunch of people.
Yeah, the people quit watching. Oh yeah, they quit watching.
Right, and they're going to miss all the great stuff that you.
Yeah,
that
you're
you said.
right.
And
You're
it's so
right, Gary.
sad. It's so sad.
It is, because Gary, politics are so important and they're such a part of life. And when Christians think they shouldn't get involved in it, they're wrong. Because if we don't make the laws, evil people are going to. And so, it's for the good people. If the good people do nothing, the bad people are going to do it. So I do believe in it.
Yes, I raised my sons, and you've met Chris. Chris is a great young man. You haven't met Zachy, but Zachary is in the Air Force. He's wanted to serve his country since he was a little kid, and he went right into the service. He is an honorable young man. Matter of fact, it's funny because a lot of the regiments, when he's overseas and stuff, these guys will make it their mission to try to get him to cuss. Because Zachy's never cussed. He's never. I mean,
God bless him.
Like if he says, you're an asshole, he says, he might say butthole. That'd be like,
yeah.
He just doesn't cuss. And
God bless him.
His mom didn't cuss, so he just doesn't cuss. And so it's so funny. He's just such an honorable, good person. And you met Chris. Chris was such a.
Chris is a doll.
He's a doll. But April had zero interest in politics at all. She could care less. I'm a rabid political.
That was your first wife?
That was my first wife.
Okay, April.
Yeah, that's Christopher's
mother.
And that's. But I've always been a political animal. I mean, for as long as I can remember.
I'm a warrior.
From forever, right? And I have very strong beliefs, conservative beliefs, right? And so, but I raised them to be independent thinkers, right? I said, guys, this is what I believe and why. But that doesn't mean you have to believe it. Right. And Zachy was very non-political forever until the last couple of years, because he served under Obama, he served under Trump, and he served under the current whoever's running the country now.
Yeah, whoever it is.
We don't know, but whoever is. And so he has seen. He's like, Dad, I get it. I didn't believe it at first that politics mattered, but having served under 3, and it just so happens that he's canine, so he works with the Secret Service. He's been on Trump's detail. He's met Trump. He's been on Air Force One. He's been to Biden's home. I mean, he has been on the inside, and he's like, Dad, I get it now. There's a
Praise
difference,
God. I
right?
know.
Now, I'm not going
Praise
to say
God.
which way he's leaning because
Well,
I
we
don't want to
know
get
which way
Zach in
he's
trouble,
leaning
right?
because
But I'm
Zach's
just
a
saying,
smart guy.
but I
You know?
raised, but that's how we raise the boys
Yeah.
is you.
Oh yeah.
I don't care what you believe or how you believe it needs to get done, but my gosh, you better believe in something. And whatever you believe in, you better be passionate about it, but make sure you're on the right side of which way we're
Yeah.
going because it
Hmm.
matters.
I always say, make sure you're on God's side. You
Yeah.
look at those policies and you vote for the policies that best align with the biblical principles because that's what works in the end. And we know that it's the only thing that's ever worked for mankind in the end.
Yeah.
It may go for a while looking like it works, but it's all going to crash unless it aligns with what God wants for us. And
Well,
so,
I wish you would hurry up and crash.
and would
Like,
crash.
I wish you would hurry up and crash. And I hate to say that, but
No, it's going to. Don't
I'm
worry.
so frustrated with the manipulation
Oh, it's awful.
of the
We don't even know what
media,
to believe. We
social
don't
media.
even know
Yeah.
what to believe.
It's
Nobody tells the truth anymore.
nobody.
It's awful. And you know
And
who the father of lies is?
yeah.
50% of the people don't believe there's a devil. But let me tell you something, the father of lies is that enemy. And he's very real. And he loves it if you don't believe in him because then he can work in your life so easy.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what, those lies but you know what? Darkness can't be where there's light, and God's going to shine that light pretty soon. You just watch. There's
Yeah.
something
Well,
about to happen, Gary.
I'm
There's something about to happen.
a big reader. I read in the morning. I read at night. I'll read at lunch. I love to read. Obviously, I got books
I
everywhere.
used to love to read.
I've picked this book up again for the
Man's Search for
19th
What?
time. Man's Search for Meaning, and it's
Mm.
it's diabolically evil how many people are trying to still say that there wasn't a Holocaust. I mean,
Oh, it amazes me.
can you
How
believe
in the
that?
world? Yeah, but
You can go visit them.
yeah,
They're
I
still
know, I know,
there,
I know, I know,
right?
I know. Isn't
You,
that
of
something? Isn't that just bizarre? They're trying to change our history. They're
course they
trying to
are.
change our history.
They're
And
trying to, yeah.
the Jewish people have been persecuted since the beginning of time. And this when I heard that they were attacked by Iran, I mean, I literally cry. I'm Italian, but you know what? I love the Jewish people. I
Yeah.
have a heart for those Jewish people. And I mean, I just cry when I hear that little tiny country. Can't they just leave them alone? God gave them that land. But I'll tell you what, you listen to this. There's a scripture that says, I will bless those that bless Israel, and I will curse those that curse Israel. Don't think for one moment they're going to get by with it because they're not. Now, God, they have been under judgment, and the Holocaust was judgment. I hate to say it, but it was. And you know what? We're headed the same way if we don't watch it here in America. We're going to get that same kind of judgment. But that's God's people. And if you don't want to touch them because anybody who's ever gone after Israel in the end, they're out of here. You just look back. I mean, they never get anywhere, and it's sad for those people. But oh, I just
Well, it's a sin that we don't support them more.
oh,
And
I do.
they're our only allies in the whole region,
They're the
and we
best
treat them
ally.
like horrible.
Well, Trump
It's
didn't.
terrible. Yeah.
Trump treated them right, and see, that's when America quits treat. You know why America's been blessed? I will bless thee that bless ye. We have blessed ye. That's why we've been blessed. And as soon as we pull out, you can see the blessing lifting off of America because this regiment we have in there right now does not bless them. And so we have got to watch, we got to be careful. Anyway, don't see this is where you don't want to get me going, but
Right.
I want your 88 year
So
old
let
mother
me. I
to come
what's
to
that?
I want your 88-year-old mother to come to headquarters. We'll put her to work.
Oh gosh, I would love for that to happen. Who
We
knows
have
what
fun
she's
there
gonna do?
too, we have
I
fun.
have to. I have to say something that we chatted about before we came on the recording. You were buying a racehorse or
I
part of a
did,
racehorse. So
Gary.
what do you do? You search for the at the auctions and then you buy
No,
like a
no,
percentage?
I've joined a little club. It's a racehorse. I have the little app, and I go in and find out what's for sale. And I mean, and I'm just finishing it up. I don't go big into it. I do these little like one half of a percent or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But you buy these horses that are worth $1 million, and there is the potential when they run. I just got this one, and her name is Moonlit Courage,
Mhm.
and her parents both were champions, and I have a lot of hope for her. She is stabled here in Hammett, right here in Hammett, and she'll be
Now,
running. She's only
do you get to watch them race?
we can go. She's
That's
only
awesome.
two, and I just bought another one today, and it's a male, and I like him. He was a little more expensive for the same amount, but
Mhm.
his parents are really his odds are pretty good of him winning, and so then when they win,
This
everybody
is
gets a little check, you
Well,
know.
I love the race horses,
Me
and I
too.
love races,
Oh,
and
I do too.
watching them forever. And I don't think I've missed a Kentucky Derby in 50 years. I literally haven't missed watching the Kentucky
I,
Derby.
I
And we've had the most bizarre, the last like four Kentucky Derbies have been so bizarre. Like they took that one guy down. I mean, they hadn't pulled a racer, the winner, in like 100 years. They pulled him down. Another guy got bumped. So the last couple of years have been really weird. But my best friend Remo Malucci, another Italian.
oh, nice Italian
Oh
boy.
yeah, Remo Malucci, yeah.
Melucci.
So Remo has, when we were like 17, we went to high school together. Like when we were 17, we used to go to Del Mar and
Love
Hollywood Park and stuff,
Delmar,
right?
my
Love Del
favorite.
Mar. And he just has a gift for picking
So do
horses.
I.
So,
I
well, we know you
handicap
know how to
those
play
suckers.
craps. That's
Listen, I handicap those suckers. And I was just telling Carrie, my little cousin, last night, her and I do this together. I said, I mean, and my eyes have gone amok. My eyes don't work real good. I can see, but not terrific. And it's real hard for me to do the handicapping now because I do it's a real detailed thing that I
Oh
do.
yeah. I
And that's
love
how
it.
I pick the winners. But I said, so she's going to have to, I'll tell her what to do. She'll have to do the handicapping. But I love
So
horse racing.
so I've always wanted to buy a racehorse for
I'll send
Remo.
you the app.
But I need to be able to own the whole horse so I can
Oh,
name him, right? Because here's the deal:
you get to name them.
you get to name
You
him
get to name them. We
because
just,
here's the name of the horse, right? Ready?
okay.
Uncle Remo.
Uncle Remo, I
Uncle
like
Remo.
it.
So
Well,
now here
yeah.
now listen to this call
Okay.
coming down the stretch, right? It's Uncle Remo coming down the clubhouse turn. It's Uncle Remo by a nose. Can you
Okay.
hear Uncle
I
Remo?
love it. I
It's
love
the
it.
best. And
Well,
so I told him one of these days, buddy, I'm going to come up with enough money. I'm going to buy a racehorse for you, and I'm going to name
but
him
those
Uncle.
those good ones are like they're 800,000, 900,000. You know that. I mean, they're
I
real
don't have nine hundred
expensive. I
thousand
know
dollars
you
to buy
don't.
a racehorse.
I know you don't. That's why I'm saying you should just buy a part of one. Now we just named our girl, our the one the Moonlit Courage,
Mhm.
and see what you do. And that wasn't the name I picked. Her mother's name was Claire DeLu, which I love that name, Claire DeLu. So we get to turn in names, and usually they call them by the mares are called by their mother's name for 2 years. They use the mother's name, and the males use the dad's name for 2 years, and then all of the owners get to turn in names, and they pick like eight, and then we all get to vote on that eight, and then they pick four, and you get to bet on. So we got to bet to vote on it, and I wanted her to be called the best of Claire DeLu was my name because I loved Claire DeLu. I thought that was a great name. But I do like Moonlit Courage. This is what won was Moonlit Courage. And in the end, that was one of my choices. So we just named her. So my other horse now, he hasn't been named yet. So he's called Paximilian is what his dad's name was. So he'll be called Paximilian for soon. We'll get to name him soon. He's a male. So I have
How
one female,
fun!
one male. I wanted
Yay!
a black horse. I'll send you the link though, because
You
you can
gotta
buy.
send me the link.
It's so
I
much
need an Uncle
fun.
Remo.
It's so
Before
much fun. I have so much
before I
fun doing this.
go, I need a racehorse called Uncle Remo.
Uncle Remo. Well, turn in the name. Maybe they'll accept it. You never
Yeah,
know.
it's a great name, Uncle
You
Remo.
never know. I kind of like it too. But
The
anyway,
reason
I'm
I
letting you
the
go. But
reason I came up with it, the reason I came up with it is because when we went to go visit to Long Island, to his family in Long Island, his little nephew Johnny, the whole time we was there, 800 times an hour, he'd say, Uncle Remo, where's my Uncle Remo?
Uncle
Uncle
Remo.
Remo. That's all I heard for a week was Uncle Remo.
And you're not Italian at all, huh? You
No,
seem
I
like
don't
you
know.
could
I'm
be.
Spanish. My dad's from Spain.
Is one of was his name what was his name Sanchez? What somebody in the family had
Sanchez.
Sanchez. See, I told Chris You should leave that in the middle when you're running for office. Chris Sanchez Scott. And he said, but that's not who I am. I said, yes, it is who you are. And today it behooves you to have that in the middle.
I
know,
tried to tell April the same thing. I didn't find out till I
leave
was
it in the middle.
27 years old. And April, my dad told me, he said, "Hey, by the way, you should probably know, you're a Sanchez." And I'm like, "Awesome," because I hate the last name Scott. It's the stupidest name
No,
in the
I
world.
like
Sorry,
it.
anybody named Scott, I'm sorry, but I like Sanchez better.
Sanchez is, yeah, but you could put it in the middle,
Yeah,
and see
say a hyphen.
if Chris is going to really go into politics, I
Yeah,
want him to put that in the middle. I just do. Don't you
yeah.
think I'm right?
I'll talk to him about it, especially in California, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
It
since it's
behooves anybody today to have a little black
and the
blood in them, to have a little Mexican blood in them.
Yeah.
It behooves
And
you.
the truth of the matter is his history is incredible. We have been in America. We founded New Mexico, our family, and we
Really?
have a grant there, a land grant, because our family got here in like 1512. That's how
Wow.
long our family's been in New Mexico. And
Wow.
his mother, his great grandmother was Mexican. His great
Scots?
grandfather was from Spain.
Or I mean Chris?
Um, and
You're
so
talking about Chris's
yeah,
family?
my dad was from Spain, and
He needs
my
to he needs
grandmother was from Mexico, and the thing is, we were there since the 1500s, and when it became New Mexico, and we were here before it was New Mexico, and so they designated in 1902, the United States government finally granted that area to our family, and
Wow.
it's 660,000 acres in New Mexico called the Atrisco Land Grant. We've got a
Jeez.
museum. We've got all this history that I missed out on because my dad changed his name. I don't know.
Oh
I never
my
met my grandfather, my
gosh.
grandmother. Because they disowned him. He has a huge
Wow.
family, and when he changed his name, they disowned him. They said, "Screw you if you don't want to."
Well, see, you don't look like a Sanchez, but Chris does. I
Well,
think
I
Chris,
look just like Chris, and he looks just like me. It must
no,
be the lighting,
I mean, he looks more like a Sanchez.
right? Yeah, because
And
he's
that's
got
what
deep
I told
blood.
him. He put that in the middle.
Yeah, well,
I,
think about this. Think about this. His grand his great grandfather's from Spain. His great grandmother's from Mexico. Okay. His dad is has the same Spanish blood, and my mom's from Guatemala.
good God, see?
His mother was from Colombia. So I mean, he's got more
April
Latin and
was from
Spanish blood.
April
Yeah,
was
she
no,
was.
see,
Yeah.
he should claim that. My gosh.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. He should know Spanish. But in any case, so
Well,
I've
maybe.
got another question for you. I only had three, so this is my,
Okay. Okay.
and then we'll wrap up because you have
All
taken so
right.
much of your time. So you mentioned that your brother is Sammy Hagar, the Red
Right.
Rocker. Everyone knows him. But do you have other siblings that are
I
still
do.
around that you're close with?
There were four of us, and we did lose my oldest brother 2 years ago. But my oldest brother was actually 2 years younger than me. It, my sister and I were the oldest. My sister was 14 months older than me. She's an author too, and
Okay.
she wrote a book called Blinds, Patches, and Twine, which is a family history book.
Mhm.
And and Sammy's got 3 books out, or 2 books, 2 or 3, and so we're all authors. And
Wow.
so one of the first questions you asked me back at the very beginning, did I ever think I was going to be an author? When I was in high school, I had a real potential for writing. I mean, I used to love to write. We had this one teacher every Friday. We came into the room, and he would have one sentence on the chalkboard. He'd write one sentence up there, and it would be a dumb, like one of the sentences I remember was, "Go over to that rock, Fortunato," and we had to write an essay with that line.
Cool.
So he would give us one line, and I was excellent at that. He used to have me read my essays all the time in front of the class. So with that, the way I began to write my message every day was one line. I will hear one line, like your line. What if you could? I could write a great blog on that. See, and I'm probably going to do that, by the way, and I'll give you credit. So I just need
Don't
one
give me
line.
credit, but you could link it to my site, but
I
it's
just
all yours.
I'm going to put this on my. When you get this done, you send it to me because I'm going to put it on my on my YouTube also. I'll put it up.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I'll get it
Please.
up there. But anyway, so the one line thing in all those years. So yes, in a way, I've always loved to write. I've written and I write poetry for everybody. I have a poem for everybody in my life on their birthday. In fact, you know what? We're going to end this poem with me reading my poem I wrote for Sammy Hagar.
I love it.
It is so good.
I
I
love it.
mean, my favorite poem, I've written poems for everybody, but my favorite one of all is the one that I've written for my brother. Wait till you hear it. I hope I can find the doggone thing. I should have known ahead I was going to do this. Talk about something you love, because I have to find it. It's so good. So every single, here, I'm going to be in here. Every single birthday, every friend in my life. I mean, I could just, if you saw how many poems I have written here, oh my God. I mean, I have probably written 100 poems for everyone. And I'm real proud of my poems. And I didn't even know that I was a poet until I was probably maybe 75. I started doing this stuff so late in life. I mean, imagine my books. I didn't even publish one book until 73, another one at 80. I mean, is that wild?
That is incredibly wonderful. God, I love that.
But you know about Sammy and what he stands for, right? So you'll appreciate this poem because it really nails him. And they put it in his book. I actually got a spot in one of his books with my poem because it's so good. But see what I'm doing right now is I'm actually going through poems I've written to find
What did Sammy write a book about? An autobiography?
Yeah, it's horrible. He tells you everything he ever did, and it's not good. And
I'm gonna have to get that book.
It's called Red, and he gives it all.
Is it called Red Rocker?
It's called Red. It's just called
Red.
Red, I think. And he tells you, oh my gosh, everything. He also has a cookbook. You know, we're real into cooking. Remember, we're Italian, and our grandfather was a chef. And okay, here it is. You're gonna love this. This is really good. I'm so proud.
Now make sure we can hear it. Make sure you're facing the microphone.
Boy,
so we can hear it.
You can always hear me.
I just want to be sure.
My little bro Sam outdid them all as he picked and sang and heard his call. He started at the bottom, a family without class. They said he'd never make it, he'd fall on his ass. Everyone said, cut your hair and go to work, but he always knew around the corner success did lurk. He struggled as he sang his way to the top with charisma and style that included his mop. Born with hair that was a wild mass of frizz, it was blonde and massive and uniquely his. He chose to wear red and screamed his way to the top, running and jumping while shaking his mop. He partied like a beach bum and stuck with his style, treating his fans like family all the while. That my Guido. Everyone loved him as they flocked.
Bad timing for the doggy.
Guido, you know what? You hush. Oh, everyone loved him as they flocked to his show, bound and determined where he went, they would go. The redheads were formed and always stuck together, forming an amazing friendship through all kinds of weather. They supported each other and adored their king, and at the Cabo Wabo, they would dance and sing. They knew all of his songs and sang them out loud, as their guy in red always made them proud. The years have flown by, but Sam never quit. What he has to give, he gives every bit. He has remained young, and his hair is still a mass. And finally, the name Hagar has tremendous class. His sister is proud and loves him from her heart, and she always has right from the start. Isn't that good?
That is really good. I would love to be able to post that. Can we post? Have you posted that anywhere so we can post
it all the time. I'll send it over to you to make sure you get it.
Send it to me and I'll put it on the podcast for sure. That's awesome.
I'm gonna do it. I'll send it over, and everybody in my life gets a poem, and some of them are better than others. That Guido.
So are you guys? Are you big sister or little sister?
I'm the second one in. My sister's number one. I'm number two. The bro that died is number three, and Sammy's the baby.
So he's your little brother.
My little brother, 5 years younger.
Aw.
He's pretty doggone. You know, he's not any young. I mean, he's no spring chicken. That I'm sure it's probably the. Oh, my dog. See that? Well, at least he waited a while to do it.
I know.
So. All right, we're gonna go. I'm going to send this to you, but I want to tell you, Gary, you are charming. You have a delightful way about you. And I pray a special blessing, a favor on you. Oh, Guido, Guido, Guido. It's
Guido, come here for a second. I need to ask your mom something real quick.
Guido, come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. I know it's just they're probably bringing me a package.
That's okay. So I have one last question.
Okay.
And I ask everybody the same question. And I don't give you this question beforehand because I don't want anyone to think about it. I want it to kind of just come from the heart, come from the soul.
I'm going to go outside. I'm taking this with me.
Yep. And it doesn't have to be about you. It doesn't have to be about your family. It doesn't have to be about religion or anything. But if you had one thought that you wanted to leave people with, just one feeling, one thought, one phrase, just if you want to just leave us with something before we go, what would that thought be?
Oh gosh, it's so easy. That is so easy. Those that put their faith in God will never be disappointed. It's just that simple.
It's just that simple.
Those who put their faith in God will never be disappointed. Never be disappointed. So
you
easy.
You didn't even have to think about it.
No, and it's not something I've ever said before. But you know what? It's absolutely the truth, because at this point in my life, remember, when you're old, the good thing about getting old is that you've learned all this. You've learned it.
Yeah.
You know,
and can you imagine this, Velma, for a second? I mean, think about what we just did here in just this one last minute. Okay. Think about when you started off, when your husband left, right? And here you are, devastated. You got these 3 kids. You've got no job. You've got nothing.
Nothing.
Think about that. And now you pick up this device that you're talking into, that we're looking at each other like the Jetsons.
It's something, yeah.
And we're putting together this awesome podcast. You've given us all this amazing inspiration. You've written 2 books. You're a TikTok sensation.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Can you imagine that Velma Hagar? Screw Sammy. Sammy can't. You're in the Hall of Fame. You're in the kick-ass. I did it. What if you could, man. Hall of Fame right now?
Oh God, I'm telling you, thank you, Jesus. I give him all the glory. You know, it is amazing, isn't it? You know, when, and looking back, you know, my line that I use on TikTok, because I have a lot of young people, you know, and I'm like a grandma to them. And Bubby is the Jewish word for grandma. Even though I'm Italian, they say nonna in Italian, but
we used to say bubbla. We used to say bubbla all the time.
Bubbla is a sweet, means sweetheart or something. Yeah, but I'm Bubby. And so I always say to those kids, now listen to me, because Bubby knows stuff like this. She's very old and she knows stuff like this. I mean, that's my line, you know. And then I'm shaking my finger, you know, you got to be sure and do this now, you kids, because listen to you, Bubby. She knows stuff like this. She's very old. And that's my line on there, because it's true. When you get older, you do know. It's just from the years. If you didn't learn from those years, something's wrong, you know.
Yeah.
And I want to,
but it's your passion to still keep doing it, right?
Yes.
You can feel it when you're talking to, you're so vibrant. There's not a chance. People probably tell you all the time, there's no way you're 82. You're like 57. There's no freaking way. I mean, honestly, I've met you in person. I've seen you do this. It's your passion. It's just
it is.
It comes right through.
Thank you, Lord. I'm so grateful that I have, it's enthusiasm. And you know what the word enthusiasm means? It means with God. I love that. I love that.
I did not know that.
God, yeah, that's what it means. And I'm not sure where it's derived from and what language, but it means with God. And, you know, honestly, I am blessed with enthusiasm, and I thank God for that. I give him the glory. I have lots of energy. My knees have gone amok and my eyes have gone amok, but the rest of me, I mean, I come out swinging every morning.
I love it. I love it. Well,
the
listen,
82-year-old.
You're amazing. This has been so much fun. I'm so glad we did this. I've loved it. Now I've got to get your book so I can come and have you sign it.
Yeah, my book. And you be encouraged, because you've got a lot going for you too. You really do. You've got a lot going. You're a good interviewer. You're not busy trying to get the attention. My brother told me that. He said, when someone interviews you, a lot of times they just want to be but you're a real good interviewer. I mean, you really put me up on the platform, and I thank you for that. You let me run. You just let me run loose.
Why would I stop? You're so good. Why would I stop?
Yeah, honestly, and I'll get you a bottle of limoncello too.
All right, my dear, but you've been wonderful. I'm so grateful. We'll get this up and going, and I just can't wait to get people. So we're going to link your YouTube channel. We're going to link your book on Amazon.
Perfect.
We're gonna get your
Bubby
TikTok
Hagar.
linked.
TikTok.
I want so when you see the podcast, everybody, you can go right to get more Velma, because you need more Velma in your life. Trust me on this one.
Bubby, you got to get some Bubby.
You need some more Bubby. Where's my Bubby?
I have to tell you, Gary, the interesting thing with that Bubby thing, I mean, because it was a side hustle. I mean, I worked so hard with YouTube, to try to get my 1,000 people so I'd have my channel. But with TikTok, wham. And so I go down to the beach or something, and I see people, they go, oh, there's Bubby. They know me. I go, my God. When they call me Bubby, I know they're from TikTok, right? But I mean, all over. I go to the market, there's Bubby. Oh, yeah,
That's incredible. That's incredible. And when we get Bubby limoncello on the market, it's gonna be a hit. It's gonna be a sensation.
I know.
Bubby limoncello.
And I'm kind of like your mother here. I say I'm too old. I'm too old to do it, because like everybody's saying, I've got another book ready to go, but I'm so old. I don't know.
Doesn't Sammy have a booze?
He doesn't. Oh, he's got it. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. He's got Cabo Wabo. He sold
his tequila, right?
Let me tell you, you got to hear one more thing.
Okay.
His Cabo Wabo tequila.
Yeah.
He had a little guy come into the Cabo Wabo and say to him, I'm making this tequila. And he ends up having him bring it to the club, and he buys it from him, right? Pretty soon he buys the whole place. He makes it. Do you know what he sold that Cabo Wabo tequila for? $100 million. $100 million. He ended up bottling it himself. All right. The guy's just bringing it into him. I mean, talk about horseshoe up his butt. I mean, $100 million. He sold it to Campari. Campari bought it.
Wow.
So now he's got
now you got to call Campari and say, hey, I'll make you a similar deal on my Bubby limoncello.
Yeah, I know. I should. If I were younger, I'd be right on his tail.
There's still time, sisters.
But he also did the Beach Bar rum. That's his. And now he's got that thing. He and Guy Ferrari, they got that thing. It's called, what is it? I don't know. It's some kind of alcohol. I'm not even sure what it's called. But, Santo. It's Santo. It's called Santo. Santo. Yeah. I think it's tequila again. So he's young. But there's another whole story. But you know what? I could go on and on.
We'll go on and on. That's for the next podcast. That's for the next one.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
You're amazing. All right, kiddo. Listen, thank you so much. We're going to link this. I'm going to send you a copy right away. Perfect. And I'm so grateful. Love you. This is fun.
This was fun.
Let's do it again.
I hope your son wins. I want your son to win.
I hope he makes it too. I can't wait to call him Mr. Mayor. All right, kiddo.
Me too.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.